This slave girl has stunning red eyes. But she has to hide them, and that's all because of pure, bitter jealousy. Milia, the master's daughter, thinks she owns the place and bullies her constantly. She even hits her straight on, just plain cruel. Through and through. But the thing the poor girl fears most isn't the pain, it's starvation. Her body is a map of scars. A brutal punishment for trying to run away. For a long time now, she's felt completely helpless. She's finally given up on that dream of freedom. Her only comfort here is a boy named Sunday, who always protects her. Whenever someone picks on her, he's there, no matter the cost, even when they lock him in the dark room as a result. You might wonder about that weird name. It's cruel logic. Every slave here is named after the day they started serving. It's part of the training, forcing slaves to worship their masters blindly. And the girl? They call her Wendy. Today, she's cleaning the room and runs right into the landlord. He's furious, just like every other day, looking for someone to break. He starts taking all that rage out on Wendy. But then, a voice cuts through the tension. It's the royal knights. Prince Chester leads them in, looking every bit the fierce, powerful leader. His entrance alone has the landlord shaking in his boots. The prince doesn't even let him talk, just delivers a kick straight to his face. He condemns the man right there for his illegal slave trade. Then, he turns his attention to Wendy, staring deep into her eyes. It's just a simple magic test to check her true nature. And just like that, the prince shifts her emotions, and the magic takes hold. Her eyes flicker, changing right before our eyes now. They're a brilliant green. The prince finally confirms it. This really is his long-lost little sister. Only those carrying the rare Ascanti royal blood possess this kind of magic. And she's special. She's the only one who can end the curse. The whole kingdom has been hunting for this solution for years. It's a blood curse that's been haunting them since the very beginning, caused by the first emperor's sins. The prophecy is grim. It says all three princes are destined to be killed by the ones they love. Only one person can break that cycle. The only girl born into the royal family. Now Chester finally notices her beautiful face is swollen and red. He knows it's the work of that vicious landlord. He doesn't hold back, drawing his sword in a blind rage. He wants to end the man right here, not caring who sees. Wendy is standing there, face deathly pale, absolutely terrified by the blade. Thankfully, his guard Colin is quick, shielding her eyes just in time. That gesture is enough to snap the prince out of his bloodlust. He realizes killing the man right now would be too easy. Instead, he orders his men to drag the landlord away. He's going to make sure the man suffers a fate worse than death. Even the guard Colin can't help but shiver at the sight. The prince's cruelty is terrifying whenever his temper flares up. His eyes turn pitch black, a trait only the royal bloodline holds. Normally, their eyes glow a vibrant blue, showing their true nature. When they are happy, those eyes shift to a brilliant gold. But right now, Wendy's eyes are a worried, pale shade of green. It's clear that she is feeling deeply uneasy about everything. Just as they prepare to leave, Sunday rushes in, frantic. He's terrified for Wendy, thinking they're taking her away as a slave. Even with the prince's sword pressed right against his throat, he doesn't flinch. He stands his ground, demanding he be allowed to protect her. The prince watches him closely, weighing the boy's desperate, fierce loyalty. Realizing this brave kid has no ill intent toward his sister, he relents. He finally agrees to let them both come along to the palace. You might think this prince is just a cold, heartless tyrant, but with his long-lost little sister, he's incredibly gentle and protective. He checks with Colin, who confirms Wendy fell asleep peacefully in the carriage. She hasn't complained once. Despite the harsh and uncomfortable travel conditions, it's a rough journey, but it's the only way to keep her safe. Prince Chester has spent a grueling, endless journey searching for his sister. So many fakes tried to claim her identity, but he saw through them. They never possessed those magical, color-changing eyes that reveal true feelings. The search hit a dead end, and he almost gave up hope entirely. Then, a letter from the emperor arrived directly from the front lines. It provided the missing clues that finally led him to her. He never imagined she would be living such a miserable, wretched life, treated like a slave without even a name to call her own. Her suffering started the moment she was born. Back at the palace, her mother was a stunning woman who held the emperor's favor. That jealousy drove the nobles to scheme. Desperate for their own daughter's rise, they ruthlessly framed her. And that brilliant woman was eventually murdered. In the chaos, the poor child was lost and left to suffer alone. Until today, she remained hidden, far from the life she deserved. By the next morning, Wendy finally begins to stir and wake up. She's still incredibly confused by everything that happened yesterday. Then it hits her. She realizes the prince draped his cloak over her. He's been sitting outside the carriage all night, looking absolutely exhausted. Wendy drops the cloak and immediately trembles, terrified of being scolded. Colin watches from the side, offering a warm, reassuring smile. He tells her gently, "Don't worry. Those hard days are finally over." Later, she wakes up and realizes the emperor draped his cloak over her. The emperor stayed outside all night, looking completely worn out. Wendy looks terrified when the cloak slips and hits the floor. She's worried he might snap at her. But Colin smiles, reassuring her. Seeing his sister's reaction like that makes Prince Chester pretty anxious. He even dares to go that far for her. The princess can pretty much run wild, and he's actually encouraging her to just be a kid and cause some trouble. Without a word, he scoops the little princess up and carries her right to the carriage. Time for breakfast. That simple, kind gesture, it makes her feel so warm inside. Sitting at the table, she's honestly stunned to see what's waiting for her. A bowl of rich, savory soup sits right there, steaming and smelling amazing. It's packed with hearty meat and chunks of potato, plus some soft, white bread. It's the first time she's ever seen a meal like this in her life. Meanwhile, Colin is sitting there, honestly, pretty anxious about the whole thing. He's worried his cooking skills aren't up to par and the princess won't like it. Even after she finishes, he's still acting disappointed that he couldn't get her to eat more. Colin mentions he has a younger brother back home who eats like a total champion. Hearing about a little brother makes Wendy think of Sunday and ask how he's doing. It turns out the guards trailing behind are looking after him just fine. A sudden task came up, so they'll be a bit late. But she'll see him again soon. He tells her not to worry. She'll be reunited with him before she knows it, if their luck holds. Colin figures they should reach the capital by tomorrow. Wendy's heard stories that it's a massive place, filled with all sorts of delicious food. She imagines soft, cozy beds, and even meeting her other older brothers waiting there. But she can't help but wonder, are they going to be as scary as Prince Chester? Just the thought of Chester's intense personality makes Wendy shiver a little. She pulls her teddy bear in tight, hugging it close for a bit of comfort. She's secretly hoping her new brothers will be as friendly as Colin. The next morning, Wendy wakes up to the sounds of a bustling, lively capital. She's absolutely amazed by the sheer noise and energy of the city's streets. She gets so caught up watching that she almost forgets her little bear. She lifts him up to the window so he can get a good look at everything too. Outside, it looks like there's some trouble brewing with the guards. Prince Chester is currently giving them a piece of his mind. It turns out they didn't bring a large enough carriage for the princess. Apparently, the red tape for carriages with royal insignias is a total nightmare. Chester is furious and demands they scrap all those ridiculous, slow procedures. He wants the best carriage here right now. No excuses allowed. Colin completely backs the prince up on this one, nodding in agreement. He thinks the princess deserves to be welcomed with a grand, royal parade. Suddenly, a carriage covered in real gold and endless gemstones pulls up. Wendy stares, completely wide-eyed. She's never seen anything this fancy before. She hasn't even dreamed of actually getting to ride in something like this. Seeing the look on her face, Prince Chester suddenly gets really worried. He's guessing she isn't happy, and probably wanted a carriage covered in flowers instead. Wendy notices the guards looking nervous, and she's just trying to take it all in. He figures she's probably not happy with the carriage choice. He guesses a carriage filled with flowers would have been better. Wendy notices the guards stumbling a bit, clearly feeling some envy. Chester promises he'll consider her next request very soon. She's rushing to prep the floral decor when she realizes they're in trouble, worried for them. The little girl stops everything. Speaking up quickly, she tells them she loves this carriage. It's already way too good. It's more than enough for her. Please, don't keep putting everyone through so much trouble on my account. Suddenly, Prince Chester's eyes flash a deep, warning red. He's clearly hurting for her, promising that from now on, she'll have it all. No one, and I mean no one, is ever going to bully her again. Only when she finally feels his genuine care and worry for her does she start to brighten up, her pupils shifting to a brilliant gold. Only then does he finally relax, praising her for being such a good girl. He's finally at peace. Then, he leads the procession, A sea of white flowers covering everything. They blanket the capital, while bystanders watch in complete and total shock. The gentle blue sky overhead, and those dancing flower petals make the little princess truly happy. She's finally smiling. As they near the palace, she notices dragon motifs carved everywhere. Colin explains it ever since the first emperor of Ascania made a pact with an ancient dragon. The whole nation has been under its protection. That is exactly why the dragon is the royal family symbol. It's their legacy. As they hit the gate, Prince Chester gently scoops her up in his arms. The little princess can't believe how massive this place actually is. Whoever cleans this palace must have some seriously strong legs. A group of servants waits in the distance to receive them. Leading them is Philip, the chief steward of the royal household. Seeing the prince carrying a young girl, he instantly knows who she is. But seeing her so thin and ragged makes him tremble with pure rage. He can't imagine the suffering she endured all this time. She's been through so much. Then, he produces a letter, explaining it's from the emperor himself. She takes the envelope, looking nervous because she can't read yet. Thankfully, Prince Chester is right there to help her out. He reads the contents out loud for her. Beyond the usual check-ins, he promises he'll return from the battlefield soon. He even included a special sprout. Chloe, that's the name the late empress wanted to give her. Finding out her own name at last, the little girl bursts into tears. Tears of pure happiness. Back then, though she never said it, she was so jealous of Milia. Even the horses had their own names, but she had nothing. But now, she finally has one too. That's right. Chloe, and my name is Chester. I'm Ascania, one of your older brothers. And I'm here for you. Seeing her bright smile, Prince Chester feels a genuine spark of happiness. His eyes soften, that golden glow slowly returning to his gaze, but he stops cold when Chloe speaks, bowing low and calling him, Your Highness. Chester. The distance in her voice hits him like a wall. Clearly, he hasn't earned her trust enough to be called brother yet. He sighs, thinking he really needs to step up his game from here on. Chester carries Chloe back to the room the staff already prepped for her. She's stunned. She never dreamed of having a room this wide and beautiful. The only problem is the space. It feels way too huge for a little kid. Sensing her unease, the prince promises to find her a different one soon. Once everything is settled, he gently lifts her cute face to look at him. He tells her she doesn't need to be afraid of anything anymore. From today on, she never has to hide her eyes in this place. In fact, soon enough, everyone will be jealous and crave eyes just like hers. Still, there is one thing he needs her to do for him. Chloe listens, her heart racing as she waits for his command. Getting a beautiful name like this already feels like a massive, undeserved gift. She promises she will do whatever he asks, no matter how hard it is, but she never expected the prince's only request to be this simple. He tells her she has to eat plenty, play with all her might, and rest well. Those are her only 3 duties, and he expects her to master them. She takes his words to heart, determined to make him proud. But that very night, the little princess jolts awake in the middle of sleep. Her body is still wired to wake up for work at this hour. She looks around, confused, until the reality of her new life hits home. She isn't in that old, miserable slave house anymore. Back then, she was always forced to sleep in a dark, straw-filled storage room. She never made friends with anyone there, except for Sunday. She misses him so much she keeps wishing Sunday would hurry up and arrive. Once he's here, she'll teach him the secret meaning of her new name. In the ancient tongue, the word for a sprout is Chloe. It makes her so happy to finally have a name to call her own. She decides Sunday deserves a special name just like that. 2. Lost in these thoughts, she doesn't notice the sun has already risen. The head servant hears movement inside and knows the princess is awake. He walks in, bowing low to invite her out for breakfast. According to the busy schedule, they have a mountain of things to do today. Chloe is still in total shock, sitting before such a massive dining table. Everywhere she looks, male servants are rushing to set out steaming, delicious dishes. She has no idea that the royal chefs have been working through the night. They spent the entire night prepping every single bite of this morning meal. The kitchen staff is a nervous wreck under the strict gaze of the masters. The head servant is watching, and Chester is looming right there too. It's intense, the air heavy with the pressure to be perfect. The result is a table overflowing with gourmet treasures, more than she can process. I thought they would all sit down and eat with me, Philip steps up. He invites the princess to dine and starts running through the schedule. After the meal, he says she can take a stroll in the gardens, and if she wants to play, he and the staff will arrange it immediately. She's actually a little surprised to hear that. You see, before this, she never really had any proper toys to play with. Nothing at all. The only things she could play with were tree branches or maybe some old screws, bits scavenged from a broken chair. That was her reality. According to Prince Chester, the head butler is already busy today. A barber is coming in, and the tailor needs to take her measurements. Once the barber leaves, he adds one more thing to the list. A shoemaker is scheduled to arrive tomorrow to fit the princess. Plus, she needs new jewelry and toys, things that require real expertise. They need someone from the outside with a refined eye to choose them. He also reports that the search for new maids is going incredibly well. People are showing up from everywhere, flooding the palace gates. It's a massive turnout. Everyone wants a chance to serve here. Chester smiles to himself. He knew this would happen all along. Normally, women aren't allowed into the palace to prevent the curse. The danger of triggering that old magic is just too high. So, girls dreaming of one day being the emperor's woman, they usually settle for working as maids in the outer palace buildings. But with Princess Chloe here, things are going to get complicated. He needs someone who can actually protect her when trouble hits. And honestly, Colin is more than qualified for the job. He's the perfect choice. During the long trip to the capital, Colin Aizawa grew close to her. He talked with Chloe all the time. They hit it off immediately. Maybe because he has 6 younger siblings. He's a natural with her. Also, Paladin isn't just a title, it's for knights with real talent. Only those with truly elite skills ever get to carry that name. Just then, a guard rushes in, looking completely frantic. He tells the prince he needs to get to the dining hall right now. Whatever the princess is dealing with, it can't wait. Chester predicted trouble was coming. And sure enough, it's arrived. People notice something strange. His eyes suddenly shift to a bright teal. A clear sign that the prince is genuinely worried about her. See, the Ascanti royal family has a dark, twisted tradition. To be officially named crown prince, the eldest must do the unthinkable. He has to behead the current emperor to take the throne. He's been taught since he was a kid to be heartless, to feel nothing, except for his personal guards. Nobody knows the truth. Nobody sees past that cold, untouchable mask he wears. Beneath the surface, he's a completely different person. Now, the guard realizes he's made a massive mistake in his report. The servant rushes and the princess still refuses to eat. Chloe is currently ignoring her rumbling stomach. She keeps her eyes squeezed shut, fighting off the temptation of the food. In her past life, she was a pro at starving. Back then, hunger was paired with freezing in the cold. But here, it is warm, and the chair is soft. She can handle a little hunger if it means staying right here. Just then, the prince bursts in. Frantic and out of breath, he finds the little girl already waiting for him by the door. His tension finally breaks when he sees her bright, waiting smile. He immediately asks why she has been skipping her meals. At first, he suspected the food the head chef was losing his mind. But after a quick check, everything looks perfectly prepared. The real reason? She just wanted to wait and eat with him. Now, watch this. The prince lets out a massive sigh of relief. He apologizes for being late, caught up in too much work. He promises to make time for breakfast, and maybe lunch and dinner too. He reminds her that if he is late, she should just eat first. When Chloe asks about her other brothers, he starts explaining. The second prince, Z, is away on an inspection trip right now. And the third, Issa, has been out of the city for a long time, but he tells her she will meet Z very soon. If that kid knew he had a little sister, he would rush back instantly. As they talk, the prince starts picking out food for her. This gentle gesture leaves all the servants in complete shock. Their prince is famous for being heartless and cold. Seeing him actually plate food for someone else, it makes no sense. After the meal, Chloe finally asks him for a small favor. Since it is her first request, Chester listens with total seriousness. He is ready to do absolutely anything she asks of him, but he never expected her to ask for a name for Sunday. Mentioning that dirty little kid makes Chester feel a flicker of jealousy. Still, he promises to give it some thought very soon. He leans in, genuinely excited for her next request, but it is just another request to name her little stuffed bear. It is undeniably cute, but he wants something else from her. He needs her to ask for something for herself, not for others. If only she knew how to be greedy like any other normal kid. He's genuinely excited. But she just wants him to name her bear. It's cute. And sure. But he really needs Chloe to ask for something. Something for herself. Not just for other people. If only she knew how to be greedy like any other kid. Those mothers only care about which child brings them more power. Everyone ambitious enough to marry into the royal family is a suspect. Knowing this, Erica hid the truth that she'd given birth to a sister. How wonderful, he thinks. After a moment, she finally speaks up. She just wants to learn to read. To finally open her father's letters. Chester actually had that planned already. But seeing her wish, he figures he can just speed the whole lesson plan right up. He even starts daydreaming about something much bigger. Why not just build Chloe an entire massive library? The girl just freezes. Talk about overdoing it. Big brother, he promises to fill it with every single book imaginable. Seriously. He is going to pack that place from floor to ceiling, and he will track down the absolute best tutor for her. 2. Her eyes turn a bright, glowing gold. She is beaming. Seeing her smile like that, Chester cannot help but feel happy. This is the first time Chloe has ever asked for something, so obviously, he cannot just hand her any old library, and he certainly will not settle for some mediocre teacher. He needs a genius. Someone who knows everything under the sun. She needs to learn like a true member of the royal family. A bit later, Colin shows up to greet the little princess. She immediately brags about having a meal with the prince today. Apparently, he even promised to eat with her every single day. Colin looks totally stunned. The prince has changed so much. With her face glowing, she keeps on sharing the big news. She tells him she finally has a name. She is Chloe. The moment he hears it, he drops to one knee before her. He introduces himself as Colin Nizo. From the 3rd Knights Division, from today. He is officially in charge of guarding the princess, Princess Chloe Ascanti. No matter what kind of danger they face in the future, he swears he will always stay by her side to protect her. Chloe is caught off guard by how incredibly serious he is. But she understands the basics. She has a bodyguard now. Colin is going to be right there, watching over her everywhere. She happily thanks him, making a quiet promise to herself. She will be a good girl, so no one ever abandons her again. Just then, the hairdresser arrives, making Chloe feel pretty nervous. Back then, everyone made fun of her for having ugly eyes. She always had to keep her bangs long just to hide them. Even though the prince said people would respect them now, she is still terrified of showing them off to the world. She is just not ready to let anyone else see them. With Colin giving her a little push, she finally finds the courage. She asks him what he thinks, and he gives her the truth. He tells her they are beautiful. Honestly, it is impossible. No one could ever feel sad while looking into her eyes. Remember how those landowners used to talk about her eyes? Even though Chester was clearly bothered, that wasn't the case at all. Colin spoke up too, insisting that wasn't what was happening here. Mr. Phillips and the other servants weren't bothered by it either. They kept their cool, watching the scene unfold with steady eyes. Chloe thought about it for a long moment, then turned to Colin. She was firm. She wanted her bangs cut right here, right now. She really needed a change, and this was where she'd start. Now, the capital of the Vlogs Empire is protected by an ancient dragon. It's a place where culture blooms, vibrant and overflowing with life. Everything from music and fine art to sculpture is top tier. And the fashion? The styles? Sarah is the best hand in the city. Before Sarah started working on the princess, Mr. Phillips gave a warning. He told her to be careful, saying the princess was extremely sensitive. He insisted she watch every single word she said around her. Sarah was nervous, but the second she met Chloe, her worries vanished. The princess was nothing like the rumors. She wasn't some cold figure. She was graceful, polite, and honestly kind. Mr. Phillips had just been dramatic. He'd made such a big deal of it that he nearly scared her off. Sarah checked the princess's hair and saw the damage right away. It had been neglected for far too long, leaving it brittle and dry. The only real solution was to trim it back and start fresh. It was already short, but growing it back healthy was the priority. While working, Sarah noticed a strange mark on Chloe's hand. It looked exactly like a slave brand. She couldn't ignore it. Sarah felt a wave of panic, questioning if this was really the princess. But this is the moment where she has to choose, stay focused or spiral. Whatever the truth was, she had a job to do first. Once Chloe confirmed she wanted it all cut, Sarah didn't hesitate. She started the trim immediately, her hands moving with total precision. Sarah truly is a master of her craft. The talent is insane. In just a short time, the princess had a gorgeous new look. It framed her face perfectly, making her look entirely different. Chloe checked with everyone nearby, confirming what she already saw. She loved it. And when she thanked Sarah, it meant the world. Chloe even asked her to come back again, which made Sarah beam. After leaving the room, Sarah finally had a moment to speak up. She suggested to Mr. Phillips that the princess should wear gloves. That mark on her hand just didn't suit a royal of her stature. It was a small detail, but it felt wrong for someone so highborn. Mr. Phillips was stunned. A massive secret was suddenly out in the open. But Sarah didn't have bad intentions. She was just looking out for Chloe. He'd feared any woman coming here was just after the money, but it seemed like Sarah had actually taken a real liking to the princess. Just like that, the bond was formed right in the middle of a haircut. The capital's #1 stylist, Sarah Mazer, had officially been brought into the fold. She becomes Chloe's exclusive attendant. Time at the imperial palace flies by, and the princess starts getting used to these fancy, heavy dresses. She gets special treatment doing whatever she wants, from her studies to her toys. But the highlight? Those evening meals alongside His Highness Chester. A whole month passes, and Chloe is so excited finally. The day she meets Sunday again. A moment later, he walks in, dressed in clothes, so neat and clean. It makes the princess beam. She starts to dash toward him, but suddenly, she stops short. Sunday bows, cold and distant. She really thought Sunday would be just as happy to see her after so long. Just then, a guard rushes over, ruffling the boy's hair and grumbling about how he ran too fast to keep up. Seeing that Sunday doesn't look as bright as before, the princess is confused. But then she remembers something. She grabs his hand and excitedly tells him that she has a gift, a brand new name. From now on, she will call him Theo. Chester told her it means a gift from the gods. Perfect for him, right? But the moment she speaks, his face darkens. She thinks he hates it, but the second she suggests picking a different name, he panics. No, that is impossible. This name? It's a gift from the princess. He'll cherish it forever. He thanks her deeply. The meeting ends in a flash. By late at night, the princess can't stop thinking about Theo. She has no idea their social standings are now light years apart. So he can't show that same comfort he once did when they were just kids. Theo's cold attitude haunts the little princess. It follows her deep into her sleep like some kind of nightmare, forcing her to jolt awake. Afraid Theo actually hates her, she decides to slip out of her room to find him. She steps out, but the hall is empty. She wanders down the long, dark corridor. After a while, Chloe realizes she has gone way too far. She's completely lost and terrified. Then, she spots a tall figure with platinum hair, standing by a window. He's wearing a uniform. A noble with those same icy blue eyes. He looks just like Prince Chester. As the princess wonders who he is, he suddenly drops down in front of her. He guesses she must be his little sister, though he's clearly unsure. He looks her over, muttering that she doesn't really look the part. He can't believe their royal bloodline could produce someone like this. How could a kid be this incredibly adorable? Seriously, how could their stoic emperor father ever spawn an angel? A little cutie like this? It just doesn't add up. He can't help himself. He reaches out and pinches her squishy cheeks. Chloe is mortified and tries to swat his hand away. He doesn't stop, even noting that she feels a bit too thin. She really needs to gain some weight quickly. She needs to get nice and chubby to be truly cute. Seeing her pouty, annoyed face, he stops teasing and finally introduces himself. He's the second prince, Zascania. Chloe bows politely, introducing herself as Princess Chloe Ascania. He beams, pats her head, and tells her what a good girl she is. Before she knows it, he scoops her right up into his arms. He leans in close, asking her to try calling him Big Brother. He's practically vibrating with anticipation, waiting for her response. When that tiny, sweet voice finally says it, his face lights up. He's grinning like a fool, absolutely glowing with pure joy. Chloe is stunned. She had no idea such a small action could have such a massive, happy impact on him. If it's this easy to make people smile, she thinks to herself, she really wants to bring that kind of happiness to everyone. Suddenly, she remembers Theo and demands Prince Z put her down. She needs to find him right now. But Z shakes his head. No way. It's way past her bedtime. And they can meet tomorrow. Besides, her friend is probably fast asleep by now anyway, like it or not. She's being carried all the way back to her room. As they step inside, they spot Colin frantically peeking under the bed. He's been panicking, searching everywhere for the missing princess. When he finally spots Chloe, he's clearly overcome with relief. But then his expression shifts when he sees who she's with. Prince Z just tells him he happened to find her wandering the hall. He adds that she's definitely going to grow up to be a stunning beauty. She'll probably have half the continent lining up for her hand. Chloe notices how worried Colin looks and quickly apologizes for slipping away. Hearing that, Colin's face turns into a mask of pure confusion. He stammers that she never needs to apologize to him. Z chimes in, agreeing that his little princess has nothing to be sorry for. But then he turns on Colin with a much colder, sharper tone. As her personal guard, leaving his post is a serious failure. Now he's wondering if he should even forgive such a mistake. Colin hears that and feels a heavy weight settle in his chest. He starts beating himself up. He knows he messed up big time. If the princess had run into any real danger back there, well, the consequences would have been absolutely catastrophic. The more he thinks, the more terrified he gets. He drops to his knees, desperate for her forgiveness. He begs her to overlook his mistake. Chloe feels just as guilty for making Colin carry that kind of hurt, even after Prince Jess carries her to bed. Her mind is racing. She can't sleep a wink, terrified that Colin might start hating her now. Prince Jess is about to leave when he notices something. Her eyes shift to a soft green, a dead giveaway. She's anxious. He turns back around, offering to tell her a story to help her drift off. Long ago, there was a cruel emperor who triggered a dark curse. The prophecy was simple: he would eventually be killed by his true love. But this curse didn't just haunt him, it lingered in his bloodline. It clung to every descendant who shared his royal lineage. Because their ancestor committed such a grave sin, the whole family suffered. For generations, they've been trapped under this shadow. From the moment they're born, they learn to suppress everything. They act cold and cruel, never letting themselves get close to anyone, not even their own family. Because your loved ones are your biggest threats. That's why the Ascanti royals never really get to know their own blood. They grow up essentially as strangers to each other. There's even this twisted tradition they have to follow. To claim the throne, a prince must strike down his own father. It's the grim initiation to become the new king. People outside call it inhumane, a total violation of natural law. But in the Ascanti royal house, it's a non-negotiable step. They have to prove they have no room for softness, even when it comes to the very people who gave them life. Chloe listens intently, unaware that her eyes are already welling up with tears. She can feel the hidden sorrow behind his words. She realizes that being forced to act like you don't love someone, that has to be so much more painful than just admitting you do. Right, it would actually be easier if they just hated each other. But that's not the reality they're living in. With no other options, they're forced to live completely isolated lives. They can't lean on their families, and they can't make friends. And heaven knows they can't afford to fall in love. History shows it's a death sentence for their line. Several princes have already met their end by falling too deep. It's a tragic precedent that hangs over every one of them. If you're born without the capacity for attachment, then you're safe from ever being vulnerable to anyone. Just to avoid that final, fatal curse of being killed by a loved one, to love someone to even be worthy of that kind of love. And that feeling of peace when you're actually loved back, getting all that snatched away, it is a nightmare. Far more cruel than any curse you could ever imagine. That is why the princes keep their distance from everyone. Because if they never fall for anyone in the first place, then they won't end up dead. The emperors don't have queens, but if they did, the odds of that person ending their own life are higher than anyone else could ever handle. If they weren't constantly being tricked by these emotions, they wouldn't need to push everyone away like this. Even if they try to put on a stone-cold poker face, acting like they don't feel a thing, they just can't hide it. Because their own eyes give them away every time. When rage hits its absolute peak, their eyes turn pitch black. If they sink deep into that crushing sadness, the eyes shift to a burning red. Getting excited turns them purple. But when it comes to actually falling in love with someone, no one really knows. Lost in his own thoughts for a moment, he continues the story of the current emperor, who faced this exact same struggle. He fought so hard to avoid loving anyone at all. But every story ends up starting in the most unexpected way. One day, out of nowhere, a girl appears before him, and she is captivating. Just being near her is enough to make even him smile. Totally naturally. Just like that, the emperor fell head over heels. The monster who spent every day hiding in a dark cave, where no light ever touched, he finally met his spring. He decided that if he was going to die, it would be worth it. So he let go of everything just to love her. And sure enough, she finally understood his heart. Their love blossomed, and that bond gave life to a little princess. But here's the problem: a group of people tore them apart, sowing discord between the emperor and his girl, driving a wedge into their love, pulling them further and further away. He stops right there, not wanting the princess to keep listening, because it hurts too much. He skips straight to the end. More than anything, their child was brought into this world, wrapped in real love, which makes her different from the three princes born into this world for no other purpose than a power grab. Those mothers only cared about the leverage their children gave them. She knew her existence meant something different to the emperor. Only a few people knew the princess existed, so a traitor is among them. Even the queen, Chloe's mother, stood by her, right to the final breath. She fought to protect her, her little girl, even knowing the cost, knowing it could mean her own life. So Chloe, don't you ever fear being hated by anyone. Prince Z watches his little sister sleep, whispering comfort. He vows to chase away every single monster. It has been his mission all along, to root out the evil ones for good. The next morning, the princess wakes up with a heavy heart, still haunted by everything she heard yesterday. Prince Z claimed the crown prince drew a blade on the emperor. Could Prince Chester really do something so monstrous? She shakes the thought away. He can be terrifying, to sure, but he isn't evil. She just knows it. She refuses to believe it. And speaking of, she wonders when he will name her teddy bear. She decides to bring it up during lunch today. A proper name for her little companion. That is the plan. Just then, a knock at the door, and in marches a line of maids, led by a stern woman, followed by Phillips and the guard. Colin offers a bright, cheery greeting that puts her at ease. After the tension of yesterday, his presence is a relief, but the head made her face is like stone. The atmosphere turns tense, thick with hidden pressure. Philip steps forward, introducing the new staff for the princess. One by one, they step up, flashing smiles that look bright as day. They seem friendly enough on the surface, but Chloe feels a chill beneath those masks. Deep down, it feels like they don't actually like her, not even a little bit. The head maid bows stiffly, introducing herself as Linda. She is the supervisor for all maids serving in the castle. Chloe is quiet, hesitant to say much back to her. Linda doesn't wait, pushing for permission to start their work. She demands an answer, and Chloe slowly nods. Feeling trapped, Linda's sharp, rigid tone leaves the princess anxious. She wonders if she already did something wrong. Linda then coldly reminds her of the hierarchy here. Everyone in this room is far below her in status. She tells the princess to stop using polite language. There is no need to be kind to servants. She warns that such friendliness will only make them arrogant. To a noble, she insists, servants must know their place. Following those strict rules is bound to stir up some nasty rumors. It doesn't matter how high-ranking or noble you are, princess. People who know they fall short will always find a way. They get rude, even cruel, just to tear others down. Some will even exploit your pure heart for their own twisted schemes. It won't be an easy path, but this is a necessary lesson. You have to etch these words deep into your mind. Princess, even with her tone kept as gentle as possible, Lady Linda noticed it. The princess seemed incredibly guarded, and it worried her. She felt the girl was far more fragile than she had first imagined. But then, Linda froze, her composure slipping into panic. Chloe asked if she was being strict because she disliked her. Was that the reason for such a firm, unyielding attitude? Once she realized Lady Linda meant nothing of the sort, Chloe calmed. She beamed, truly relieved, and promised to keep every word in mind. She figured she still had so much to learn, so many missing pieces. If she could just become sharper, more intelligent, maybe it would change. If she improved, she told herself, people wouldn't hate her anymore. That had to be the answer, right? During their meal, Chloe asked why His Highness the Prince wasn't there. Lady Linda explained that he was tied up with sudden, urgent matters. Instead, he had sent a gift to apologize for his absence. It was a beautiful jade necklace, carved in the shape of a sprout. Just watch this, it's a tiny detail that says so much. Chester wasn't such a bad person after all. She realized. She decided to keep it right next to the sprout the Emperor gave her. Then, Linda heard the princess mention something else. After eating, Chloe planned to go visit her friend Theo. Linda was stunned, her expression shifting instantly into surprise. She had never heard a single word about the princess having friends, but as her own face betrayed her shock, she realized the mistake. Seeing the worry bloom in Chloe's eyes, she quickly softened her look. She forced a smile, reassuring her before heading off to prepare a snack. Chloe was smaller than other children her age, clearly malnourished. Protecting her health was the top priority Prince Chester had set. It was a mission she took as seriously as any royal order. Chloe's thoughts drifted back to those happy moments eating sweets with Theo. She agreed to the snack immediately, her face lighting up. Pretty little cakes were packed carefully inside a woven basket. Everything was ready for the little princess's upcoming stroll. Colin was the one assigned to escort her for the day. The moment he learned she wanted to visit Theo, he tensed. He grew deeply uneasy, his protective instincts kicking in. What if that orphan boy grew jealous of the princess's status? If he tried something reckless, the consequences would be absolutely devastating. He's still debating whether to stop this meeting. Then he catches Chloe's anxious gaze, and he's instantly folding. He promises Linda he'll keep the princess safe and heads out. Chloe follows him, looking genuinely happy to be on this walk. But they don't get far. A mysterious hand suddenly appears. It reaches from behind, lifting Chloe right off the ground. She's completely panicked. Turns out, it's just Prince Zach, pulling her into a hug. He teases that he's going to find a new bodyguard for her soon. Seeing his little sister shyly greet him as Highness, he can't help it. He pinches her cheeks right there on the spot. He tells her firmly, "Don't call me Highness next time. Call me brother. Understand?" So, where is my adorable little sister heading off to? Only now does she notice the basket of cakes she dropped. She's heartbroken about the mess. But she doesn't blame Colin. He had his sword out in a heartbeat, ready to protect her. Zach turns to Colin and tells him he gets a chance to make up for this. "From here, I'll take the little one out myself. Just the two of us, so keep quiet about this." Okay. Right after, he treats his little sister to his favorite cream cake. Even Chloe has to admit it is way too big. Maybe it's enough to share with Colin as well. Wait for it, he's about to stir up some real trouble. She doesn't eat, so he jokes about tossing the whole cake out. Chloe is panicked. Wasting food gets you in serious trouble. Back when she was a slave, not finishing your meal meant punishment. Even if the food smelled terrible, you had to choke it down. Besides, this cake is way too expensive to just waste. No way she is letting that happen. Once she's finally full, she asks her brother to wrap the rest up. Just then, a beautiful woman approaches and greets Prince Zach. She introduces herself as Viola. She claims it is just a chance encounter, but he knows better. He's certain she's got some hidden agenda here. She doesn't even spare a glance for the little princess. She just keeps rambling on, eyes locked only on the prince. It's so obviously fake. Only when Zach introduces Chloe as his sister does she react. She rushes to bow, acting like she was interested all along. Viola invites the princess to a small party she is hosting tonight. She claims it would be perfect if the princess makes a new friend. She is clearly trying to pull her into some political scheme. Zach has had enough of her act. He doesn't hold back. His expression turns ice cold, and he orders her to leave. He warns her stay far away from those Don Ma people. They might seem friendly, but that smile? It is just a mask. They could use her for their own games whenever they want. It sounds a bit confusing, but Chloe knows her brother is just worried. The prince takes her out to see the sights all day long. It is late afternoon before they finally start heading back. Prince Chester is already there, standing by the carriage, waiting. After a few quick words, Chester picks Chloe up in his arms. He tosses her into the carriage, leaving her brother to walk home. In the carriage, he sees Chloe worrying about the prince. She calls him brother, and that one word stings him. He wonders to himself, why won't she call him that too? Chloe does not quite get his mood, but she is excited anyway. She cannot stop talking about everything that happened today. She got an invitation to a party from a girl named Viola, but her brother Rest says she should skip it. just to be safe. He is afraid that people there only want to use her. The prince agrees with that. But he adds a little something else. Not everyone is bad. And he wants her to know that. Many will follow her, serve her, and treat her with honor. She is the only princess of Ascania. After all, one day, she will lead this entire kingdom herself. She will be too busy to hit every party. So it is fine. If she does not want to go, she can just stay home. When the invites come in, she just needs to answer gracefully. Chloe nods, happy, and turns her gaze toward the window. Suddenly, a strange building appears out of nowhere. Then it just vanishes, making the princess think she is seeing things. After a while, they pull up to the castle where Theo stays. She spots Colin waiting there and runs over. Beaming with joy, she proudly tells him the prince named her teddy bear Common. Colin smiles back, happy for her. But there is a weight on him. He feels terrible about what happened earlier today. Even if his opponent was the prince, the best swordsman in the empire, a true bodyguard cannot just forgive himself for that. He cannot let anyone snatch the princess away from his watch. If he lets that happen, he has failed his duty completely. He points her toward where Theo is, and she takes off running. Her heart is racing with excitement as she rushes over. She is already imagining a perfect, beautiful evening ahead. They will share some dinner and just talk, happy and close. But Chloe freezes in her tracks the second she sees him. There is Theo, working hard, scrubbing the floor all by himself. A guard walks in and orders him off to prep the dinner. She watches him walk away, her heart sinking in the silence. A strange, gnawing fear takes hold that he'll hate her for getting all this special treatment. She feels completely undeserving of this comfortable life. Guilt pushes her to act. She calls out for Colin, demanding to see Prince Chester. Right now, he is in the middle of a heated sparring match with his brother. Prince Z hasn't forgotten the past. He still carries the sting of his pride being wounded. Back then, Chester abandoned his own brother just to dote on the little princess. Then Z brings up the incident from earlier today, when Viola just showed up out of nowhere. Her attitude was enough to make Z lose his cool completely. But the one he really hates? Viola's father, Hanover. It is clear Hanover was behind everything that went down 10 years ago. The problem is, there is no hard evidence to hold him accountable. Before this, Z had been investigating Erica Graham, Chloe's mother, on Chester's orders. She was murdered. But because the case was botched a decade ago, they are hitting dead ends. Clues are almost non-existent. Think back to when Erica was killed. That was the same time Chloe was kidnapped. She ended up lost, sold off into that nightmare of human trafficking. The emperor wasn't even in the capital then. He was leading his army into a brutal invasion. When he finally returned and learned his true love was gone, he was shattered. To numb the pain, he just threw himself back onto the battlefield. That was when young Chester stepped up to carry the weight of the entire empire. Even back then, he suspected more than just Hanover. He actually believed his own mother had a hand in the murder. Z adds even more to the fire. The suspects include his mother and Erica's own mother. All three women were green with envy because Erica was set to be the first empress. Anyone hungry for power through a royal marriage was suddenly a target of suspicion. Knowing the danger, Erica had hidden the truth about giving birth to their sister. She knew her existence meant something different to the emperor than anyone else in the palace. Only a handful of people knew about the princess, so one of them had to be the traitor. But wait, think about this. The midwife, the maid, even the scarlet bird, they were all wiped out. Who could have leaked the secret? Just as they are arguing, the princess suddenly rushes into the room. Even Colin could not stop her in time. The midwife and the maid were murdered. Even the Red Robin didn't survive. Who could have possibly leaked that information? Right in the middle of the debate, the princess rushes in. Even Colin can't stop her as she charges forward. She's heading to meet the teacher sent from the academy. Seeing the princess so excited actually catches him off guard. Most kids usually hate studying, but she's different. She's been working so hard, reading every book she can find. Even when she hits a tough word, she repeats it dozens of times. She's never had formal lessons, so she isn't sure if it's fun. But if she assumes it's boring without even trying, that seems weird. Now watch this. Colin is honestly stunned by how mature she sounds. Her eyes shift to a deep purple. She's dead serious about this. She really needs to get through to Prince Chester right now. Meanwhile, Prince Z is still trying to grab his sister's attention. When he finally asks, he finds out what's really bothering her. She's confused about something regarding Theo, the young boy. You told her he didn't need to clean or do chores anymore. So why is he still stuck doing all that menial labor? Theo might be different from you, but he's exactly like her. Back then, Theo even shared his bread when she was being starved. He'd even sneak around, secretly helping her finish all her chores. It was a lifeline she never forgot and still doesn't quite grasp. She still wonders what was going through his head back then. That moment he bowed his head and called her princess. If she were in his shoes, how would she even feel? Happy? Sure, but she'd know things were fundamentally broken. Their bond, once so close, could never be the same again. She wants to keep being friends with Theo, just like before. But how? What can she even do to make that happen? Prince Z stays quiet, thinking of a way to cheer Chloe up. Chester finally gets it. There is a path forward here. He can't make the boy royalty, but he has another idea. He could elevate Theo to the nobility, granting him status. That would bring him much closer to the princess's side. Suddenly, he turns to his guard, Colin, with a sharp question. What does he think about the idea of a brand new family? Colin hasn't caught the full drift of what Chester is implying. He's completely caught off guard, staring in total shock. Elsewhere, Theo lies under the moonlight, staring at his own hand. That slave mark is a constant reminder of the hell he survived. He thinks back to those days, abandoned deep in the woods. That's when he fell straight into the hands of a slave trader. Every time he even tried to run, the nightmare started over. Locked in a cage, starved until he was too weak to move. That deep, bitter resentment just kept growing inside his chest. Until that one day, until she finally appeared, a silly little girl with red eyes, sneaking him some food. She risked getting punished just to make sure he could eat. She told him her name was Wanda, smiling at him kindly. She said he reminded her of a younger brother she once knew. From that day on, Wanda came to see him every single time. Her hands were so warm he'd never felt kindness like that. He decided then and there, he'd get her out of this hell. He's happy she's the Princess Chloe now. He really is, but he can't help this hollow, aching sense of loneliness. Lost in his thoughts, he's jolted by a sudden knock at the door. Theo jolts awake, sprints to the door, expecting to see Chloe. Instead, Prince Z is standing right there, staring him down by his feet. Chloe is busy chasing after her brother. He backs away. Don't stand in the doorway, he thinks. Theo realizes in a flash this must be one of the three princes. He quickly drops his head in a respectful bow. Suddenly, the prince reaches out to pat his head. Theo's guard is up. He dodges the hand instantly, but the prince follows through, ruffling his hair and praising his reflexes. Smart kid, you even pegged me as royalty, he adds. I've always had a soft spot for children like you, but if you're gonna be her friend, maybe act a little dumber. It's a total pain having such a sharp kid hanging around her. Keeps things too complicated for my liking. Honestly, now that's out of the way, time for Chloe's favor. If I don't help, she'll be absolutely furious with me. He hands her over, then turns to leave without a second glance. Just don't do anything reckless, he warns. I'm watching from afar. With that, he's gone, leaving the two kids awkwardly standing there. Silence stretches between them until the princess finally breaks it. She asks if Theo wants to come inside and talk properly. Theo gives a quick nod, agreeing to follow her in. Chloe lights up, excitedly bringing out a basket of treats. They sit down together. She's been waiting to share these. They're from that famous shop right outside the capital. They're honestly so good, you have to try them. Plus, I packed plenty of other snacks just for you. And don't worry, I won't let Prince Z bully you anymore. No need to be scared. Okay, Theo? It hits Theo. Then she still cares about him just like before. She's shining just like the sun, so bright and warm. For the first time, the darkness around him starts to fade. She didn't just come to visit, though. She has a real question. She wants to know if he'll stay here as her friend. If Theo gets adopted by a noble family, it's actually possible he could be her official companion, just like in the old days. If he says yes, meeting up might get a bit harder. He'll need time to adapt to a new family. After all, it's a big change for anyone, let alone him. She admits she forgot to ask how long it would take, but regardless, they'll definitely find a way to see each other. Besides, she's learning to read and write now, so they can send letters. If you don't want to, there's no need to force yourself, she says. You should only do what you truly want to do. As for me, I've made up my mind, wanting to keep being friends. She hates that he is acting so distant, without overthinking it. Theo confirms he still wants to be friends with her. For him, Chloe is his very first friend, and the most important one. So he is going to try his hardest to keep their bond strong. Time flies. And in the blink of an eye, a whole year passes. Suddenly, a rumor spreads through the kingdom, making many nobles quite happy. They say the princess is in critical condition, a total disaster. The old noble Rodat can barely hide his curiosity and starts digging. He even tries to bait Colin into a dinner, fishing for information, but Colin shuts him down fast, citing his duty to train his younger brother. The old man remembers that boy, the one Theo was adopted into the family a year ago. Meanwhile, Prince Chester and Prince Z have been cleaning up the palace grounds. Yet, a few people with bad intentions are still lurking in the shadows. Everyone is waiting for the princess to show her face. And that moment is coming. Colin heads over to check on her, finding her bright, healthy, and looking even prettier. Chloe runs up, excitedly showing off a new letter she got from the emperor. He apologizes for missing her birthday, but promises to make it up to her soon. Colin is genuinely happy to hear that, trusting the emperor will be back in good health. It is no secret that his swordsmanship is the absolute best on this continent. When Chloe asks about Theo, Colin smiles. He is doing great, learning how to write back. But Colin has another reason for being here today. Besides just checking in, he is escorting her to meet the new tutor sent down from the academy. He is surprised by how cheerful she is. Most kids usually hate studying, but Chloe does not know that yet, as she has spent all year poring over books. Whenever she hit a hard word, she would just repeat it dozens of times. She tells him she has not officially started, so she does not know if it is fun, but it would be kind of weird to decide she hates it before even trying. Colin is stunned by her mature perspective. She is so different from his own brothers. He leads her to a quiet room to introduce the new professor from the academy. They are supposed to meet a brilliant teacher. But as they walk through the door, wait for it, right in front of them stands someone entirely unexpected. She is really nothing like his own siblings. He leads the princess to a room to meet the new tutor. He's introduced as a brilliant professor, a master in his field. But standing there, right in front of them, is something else entirely. It's a failure to carry out the critical task the emperor ordered. The difficult words just keep repeating over and over again. Since I haven't started formal lessons yet, I honestly have no idea. Whether it'll be fun or not, I won't know unless I actually try. Deciding it won't be fun before testing it out feels pretty weird, right? Colin is actually taken aback by the little princess's mature train of thought. She is so different from his own younger sisters, really something else. He leads her down the hall toward a private study room. He's introducing a new teacher, a professor who is incredibly talented. But right in front of them, something unexpected happens. There he is, dead asleep on the floor, surrounded by a mountain of books, and he is snoring away seriously. This is just not normal behavior. While Colin goes to double-check everything, Princess Chloe just waits there. Suddenly, he jolts awake, blinking sleepily at her, and tries to greet her. He introduces himself as Ryan, and tells her he is her new tutor. From today, he's the one responsible for her entire education. It has been a long time since Chloe talked to a stranger. She feels pretty tense, but she greets him back and gives her name. Since this is the very first lesson, she is honestly worried. Can she really get through all the books Ryan dragged in here? But then, out of nowhere, the teacher suggests they just skip class. Seriously, what is his deal? Ryan explains it in his own way. He claims that throughout history, in every single country and era, the first day of school is always meant for skipping class. He calls it an unwritten tradition, an unofficial rule, if you will. So if she really wants to study today, he challenges her. She needs to come up with a reason convincing enough to change his mind. The more Chloe listens, the more confused she gets. She has no clue. After a moment of thought, she finally gives him an answer. She explains that she truly wants to learn, even if he hates it. She asks if he feels stuck, forced to teach her by Chester's orders. But she really wants to learn from him, to gain his knowledge, even if it is just one day. She wants to become an adult faster. She has heard about her duty to the royal family. After all, and to fulfill that burden, she knows she needs real ability. Ryan listens, Finally nodding, he admits royal power is absolute, but he warns her that the nobles cannot just be ignored. If she wants them to serve, she has to play the game. The vlog kingdom is massive. The royal family cannot manage it alone. To keep them in check, the royals have to be tough as nails. He tells her she could even threaten him, make him hold his tongue, or she could always just borrow the crown prince's authority. Ryan strikes a pose, hands on his hips, and shouts out loudly. He commands her to say that the task given by the prince is impossible. He tells her to mimic his attitude and scream it out with authority. It is harsh, but in Chloe's voice, it actually sounds cute. Through this lesson, Ryan wants her to learn a hard truth. Being a royal means learning how to control the people around you. An impossible task, a mission the king gave them, now failing. The prince just issued a royal decree, and then he teased her. He told the princess to mimic his every move, and she actually did. Sure, the words he used were pretty harsh, but coming from the princess, it sounded just adorable. Ryan was really trying to drill a lesson into her here. He wants her to learn how to carry herself with proper manners. To truly carry the weight of being a princess of Ascanti, he warns her this princess must master everything in a tiny window of time. That means mountains of lessons. And the material? It's honestly pretty brutal. He's blunt. He tells her a few days in, you might just hate every second. But Chloe? She doesn't flinch. She promises to work until she drops, no matter how much is piled on her plate. She's ready, with her mind finally set. Ryan starts the real training. First up, ancient linguistics. Meanwhile, Prince Chester is drowning in a mountain of state affairs. A guard hurries in, looking stressed. He has a serious report. A rebellion of sorts in the Central Council meeting. It's all about the upcoming knight selection exam. Seems the new rule, allowing women to join the ranks, is causing quite a stir. The very one the prince just insisted on pushing through. Chester knows these types of debates are endless. They'll drag on forever. So he decides it's better to just ignore the noise. He tells the guard to keep moving forward with the selection. He shifts to the Ryan child. He learns that by shifting the adoption timeline, there's no official link left to the princess. Plus, since the kid is now basically a knight protector, nobody finds it weird that the princess is hanging out with someone like that. It's perfectly normal. Finally, the moment for their reunion arrives. The long wait is over. The princess arrives in a gorgeous dress, following Colin. It's been such a long time since they were together. The moment they walk in, Colin's younger siblings are mid-brawl, making a huge scene. It catches Chloe off guard. She's a bit scared, but the second they spot the princess, they all freeze. They stop everything and bow respectfully. The only girl, Emily, introduces herself first. The one with the glasses? That's Sue. He looks like a total scholar. And those two messy-haired ones? Louis and Jerry. Definitely the troublemakers of the bunch. The princess greets them kindly, but something feels off. She looks around. There is still one missing. A boy is flat on the floor, groaning, demanding help. A hand reaches down, hauling him up in one fluid motion. It's the youngest, Colin. He looks like a proper noble now. He's grown tall, even towers over Chloe by half a head. She is genuinely stunned to see how much he has changed. She worries if this keeps up, she'll have to call him older brother. Still, she's honestly just glad to see him again. With such a warm family around, Theo finally feels like he can. He officially asks to be the princess's friend, and she happily agrees. Beaming at him, the kids left back at the house are acting up. Feeling frustrated, Theo takes the princess out, leaving the others behind to talk. They discuss life inside the palace. It must be incredible. Emily is so excited. She wants to sign up for the royal guards, but Colin stops her cold, insisting that it is way too dangerous. He's terrified she'll get hurt the second she touches a blade. Sue jumps in to reassure them, saying Theo is the best with a sword. Everyone agrees, and he is a lock to pass the upcoming exam. Even Colin trusts Theo, despite him only training for a single year. He has been working so incredibly hard lately. Theo might just become the youngest knight ever, just like Z was. Outside, the princess is totally shocked to hear Theo bragging. She realizes his goal is to join the royal guard. Maybe he wants to stay right by her side to protect her? Theo turns bright red at that, nodding quietly to confirm it. Then, he shyly leads the princess over to his room for a tour. He is so proud of the space. It is huge and filled with toys. All those gifts from his siblings, scattered around everywhere. Chloe starts bragging about her room, packed with books and flowers. Prince Chester even hired an incredibly brilliant teacher for her. That tutor knows everything, answering every single question she asks. Suddenly, she spots a beautiful little box and gets curious about it. Theo explains that it is a gift from Charlotte at the academy. It is filled with gorgeous ribbons, specifically requested by him. Theo wants to tie them for her himself once he becomes a royal knight. Hearing that, Chloe is overjoyed and promises to keep them safe. Once she is back at the palace, she will lock them in her treasure box. Winter arrives before they know it, and the little princess has gained weight. Most of her dresses do not even fit her properly anymore. Every time she visits Theo, she gets worried about him too. He is shooting up like a weed, growing taller every single day, just like a tree that never stops reaching for the sky. Back at home, every time she studies, Prince Z shows up to help. At least that is his excuse. He just comes over to tease her. But get this, he mentions something strange going on lately. People are reporting a tower moving through the woods. That is a major sign that her third brother, Ikra, is finally back home. Whenever she tries to study, her brother Enzi shows up. He claims he's there to help, but honestly, he just teases her. Lately, he's been passing on some wild rumors he heard. People are spotting a massive tower moving through the forest. That only means one thing: her third brother Ekra is finally back. Everyone here knows it is rare for Prince Ekra to return. If he does show up at the capital, you know something big is coming. Something massive, a real turning point for the kingdom. Maybe he is hiding somewhere, watching us right now. He really hates being the center of attention, doesn't he? Anyway, he has to go find someone to work on the gems, so he leaves Chloe for a bit, then comes back to ask the princess out. But she turns him down. Going out with him always ends in a late night. He keeps her out until it is pitch black, always causing trouble. Chloe is just getting back when she hears it. A tapping at the window. She looks out, but there is nothing there. She has no idea a mysterious figure in a hood is lurking nearby, just watching her, waiting. Meanwhile, Tutor Ryan is thrilled because the princess is finally showing real progress. He tells her they can wrap up today's lesson a bit early. The magical books he ordered have finally arrived. He is planning to head over to the bookstore to pick them up. Chloe is surprised. She thought those books were only in the royal library. Ryan explains the shop is smaller, I'm sure, but it gets the new shipments first. Apparently, they even sell specialized ink and fine writing paper there. Naturally, the princess wants to tag along and see it for herself. In no time, Colin and Tutor Ryan have her at the shop. As Ryan goes to get the books, she wanders around, genuinely fascinated by everything. Colin, though, is busy watching Ryan. The tutor is stroking those new books like they are precious treasures. It looks pretty bizarre, if you ask me. The princess explains he just has a special bond with his collection. He signs almost every single one he buys, even the rare, ancient ones. It drives the scholars absolutely crazy. Ryan just shrugs it off, not caring what anyone thinks. He says marking them is the only way to keep them from falling into the wrong hands. While walking around, she spots a storybook about a greedy dragon. Ryan walks over and warns her that most people hate this specific book. Compared to standard fairy tales or grand adventures, it is quite dark. It paints the main character as genuinely, irredeemably greedy. Now watch this. Here is where the history lesson gets interesting. According to what Exra knows, dragons were real once, but it has been such a long time since anyone actually laid eyes on one. Back when the first emperor of Arsenia was building this kingdom, that was the era when the ancient dragons still walked the earth. That really is the greed fruit, just like the teacher described. According to legend, Exra knows dragons truly exist, but it has been a very long time since anyone last caught sight of one. Back when the very first emperor of Arsenia was busy building this entire kingdom, ancient dragons were already walking the land. The dragon vanished, leaving everyone questioning if magic was ever really here. Magic itself, that ancient dragon power, feels like both a blessing and a curse. He talks while swiping the book the princess was reading right out of her hands. A quick lie slips out. He says he's just putting it away to gift it to Colin. Just a simple present, he claims. On the way back, the princess passes a tower that looks just like the last one, but this time, it doesn't vanish. It has clearly stood here for ages. Guard Colin follows the princess's orders, stepping inside the dark tower, but Prince Extra is nowhere to be found. Colin reports back, his voice tense. The tower gate has not budged for centuries. The princess, her curiosity getting the better of her, pushes the heavy door open. Colin is too slow to stop her. Suddenly, everything around Chloe goes pitch black. It feels like they've been pulled into an entirely different world. When she finally opens her eyes, she is standing at a crowded city intersection. These rows of modern buildings, they look nothing like her home. She spots a tiny lizard under her feet. Strangely, the fear she usually feels is gone. It actually seems cute to her. She reaches out, but the moment her finger touches it, the world shifts again. In a blink, she's back in the familiar world. Wait, this hits different. These visions are exactly like the dreams she had as a slave. She saw modern machines back then, school buildings, and so many friends. But now, the real problem is that Colin and Master Extra are gone. The space around her is suddenly filled with roses, brilliant, vibrant colors everywhere. A blinding light flashes from the left, forcing Chloe to shield her eyes. She keeps them shut tight. After a moment, she peeks out and sees a pure white bird flying right toward her. She still thinks this is just a dream, so she relaxes. She lets it land on her hand, introducing herself like she's talking to an old friend. The bird seems to understand, chirping back a response to every single word. Then, a massive tremor rocks the ground, cracking the earth right beneath her. Chloe panics, but she barely manages to scramble back. She clutches the little bird tight, sprinting toward higher ground. I mean, who would expect an earthquake inside their own dream? A loud, booming alarm echoes out, warning them of an intruder. Turns out, that talking bird wasn't just a friendly dream after all. One landed right there, introduced itself, and started chatting just like an old friend. It seemed to understand too, chirping back in response to every single thing the little girl asked. Then, suddenly, a massive tremor cracked the earth wide open right beneath them, leaving Chloe completely terrified, but thankfully, she managed to scramble back and scoop up that little bird, sprinting for safety. She never imagined that even in a dream, an earthquake could be this terrifying. Suddenly, a loud, booming sound echoes out, a warning signal that someone has broken in. Turns out, it is just the talking bird. The thing claims Chloe is an intruder, and the wall will soon crumble as the tower begins to swallow her life force, to feed its own power, and the barrier is already collapsing as it flaps its wings and flies over to perch on Chloe's head, using some kind of hypnotic magic to make her drift off into unconsciousness. Suddenly, a mysterious figure scoops Chloe up into his arms, then reaches out to touch her forehead, leaving a glowing red mark. Right behind them, Crown Prince Chester breaks through the wall, rushing in to find his youngest brother, the younger Prince Ezra, cradling little Chloe. His face darkens with pure annoyance as he demands Ezra hand over his little sister. The mobile tower isn't a place for everyone because it acts as a mirror reflecting the heart of whoever steps inside. If a weak-willed person enters, the tower turns into a literal hellscape, while if that person has a pure soul, it manifests a world as beautiful as the Holy Scriptures. Prince Ezra has witnessed countless worlds of those who once stepped inside this place, but, for the first time in his life, he sees a world this breathtaking even while facing mortal danger. She held on to him tight, promising to stay by his side and protect him. Pay attention here. The moment Ezra realizes she is his sister, his joy is absolute. He knows this is the only light in all of Aspania, capable of cutting through their cursed bloodline. She is the one who will finally save monsters as lonely as the two of them. After his brother explains the long journey to find the lost princess and their desperate search for the culprit, Ezra turns cold, guessing that the mastermind behind this entire mess is none other than their own mothers. Those mothers of theirs. If he were to act directly, the entire kingdom would brand him a heartless monster. So he vows to be the one to kill those repulsive women and keep this fragile little girl as safe as he possibly can. After a while, Chloe finally stirs and opens her eyes, thinking she is still trapped in a dream. As her senses return, she sees a stranger standing right in front of her, and she flinches, backing away in panic. But after a closer look, she remembers the telltale trait of the royal bloodline, which is the signature white hair and striking blue eyes, so she quickly guesses that this must be Prince Ezra. He confirms it with a nod and decides to compliment the little girl, saying she is as cute as a puppy. Hearing that, she jumps right up to set the record straight. She isn't some puppy, her name is Chloe. Ezra stares at her for a beat, still insisting her hair is soft as a pup's. Then he thanks Chloe for saving him. Even with the danger involved, he says if she wants, he can shift back into that little bird again. Learning about his power leaves her completely stunned and in awe. Just then, Prince Z grabs his youngest brother by the head. He asks straight out why he finally decided to come back. Ezra doesn't hold back, telling him someone is about to die. He starts to explain more, but catches his little sister's confused look. He stops mid-sentence. So Prince Z shifts gears to welcome him home. 3 years, he says. And finally they're all together again. Then he tosses a jewelry box over, asking Ezra to put it on her. It's a bracelet set with a massive blue diamond. This stone was shipped in from the kingdom of Kono. Ezra knows this specific gem is considered the finest on the continent. He fastens it onto her wrist. And honestly, Chloe looks pretty rattled. She's guessing this thing must have cost a fortune. It really does sparkle way more now that it's on Chloe's arm. Prince Z mentions he planned for a necklace at first. Since she's still so young, he had it resized into a bracelet. Usually, noble girls get necklaces on their 16th birthday. But Ezra insists that he wants to be the one to give her that gift. Now watch this, the brothers immediately start bickering. They're both bragging about the rare treasures they've collected. Each one is trying to prove why they deserve to be the primary gift giver. Poor Chloe is totally overwhelmed, listening to them go at it. I mean, can you imagine not even knowing how rich your brothers are? Back home, she promises Z she'll lock the gem away in her treasure chest. He shakes his head. He doesn't think that's a good idea at all. Tucking a gift into a box isn't the only way to show you care. He wants her to wear it until the stone is covered in scratches, even if the chain starts to loosen up. He says she shouldn't take it off, because no matter how rare or beautiful a jewel is, it isn't worth as much as her. If she likes it, he just wants her to wear it so he can see her shine. Chloe hears those words and is moved to tears, completely touched by it all. Locking that gift in a jewel box isn't the only way to show you care. Just wear it. Truly. Wear it every single day. Keep wearing it until that gemstone gets covered in scratches. Even if the chain gets loose or worn out, don't you dare take it off. Not ever. No matter how rare or beautiful that gem is, it can't compare to you. You are worth more than any treasure. So please, if you want, just put it on so I can see it on you. Chloe listens to every word, her heart completely overwhelmed, wiping away her tears. She decides it is time to spill the truth. She needs to tell the Emperor everything she has been through. She finishes writing the letter, hand still shaking from the stress. Then, out of nowhere, a pure white bird flutters through the window. It is actually Prince Ezra. Seeing her brother crawl through the window, instead of just using the front door, she cannot help but sigh. She warns him to stop acting like a thief. Seriously, just use the door. He agrees. But she knows he is just humoring her, typical him. She has to remind him a few more times just to be sure. Right on cue, Linda knocks and walks in, eyes sharp as a hawk. The prince tries to hide, but he cannot escape that piercing gaze. He stands up slowly, looking like he is about to face execution. And he is right. The lecture is coming. You can see it on her face. Linda scolds the prince, telling him exactly what she thinks. A prince has no business sneaking into a young girl's bedroom. Chloe is only 12. Boundaries exist for a reason. Highness, even if he turns into a bird, his mind is still that of a man. She does not hold back. Then, she turns her attention to Chloe. She warns the princess if he shows up again, do not open the door. Chloe understands, even if Linda sounds but she's still worried about everything coming next. Lady Linda hands Chloe a gift sent directly from the crown prince. It is a key to a safe inside the princess palace. I have already prepared all the daily essentials for you, so we only need to pack the things you really need from here to take along. The princess is so happy that her own palace is finally finished. She wants to pack everything important, like her teddy bear, every single book, that jewel box, and honestly, a whole lot more. She's also very understanding and kind toward Chester. His Highness and Prince Z cannot attend the palace opening. Pham Quan is tied up with princess duties. Way too busy. She just waves a cheerful goodbye. Happy to let them go, Linda heads off with her brother to tour the palace first. Seeing Linda wants to tag along, she jogs over to her, grabbing her hand. She asks Linda to carry the luggage, and just like that, Chloe and her group of handmaidens head toward her own private palace. The feeling in her chest? Pure, nervous excitement. After walking through the halls, the princess is stunned. She finds a room, packed full of her own plush toys. Her maid tells her this room was prepared by Prince Z himself. Seems like he really did his homework to make it this perfect. He must have looked everywhere to get it just right, and then Kana the maid leads the princess to a really special spot, the jewel room. But it stays locked behind a special key. Chloe wonders just how massive this place actually is. She finds out it has 100 rooms, a huge library, plus 3 gardens. And that is not all. There are so many decorations that Chloe feels dizzy. She decides to head for the library next, but as she runs past a window, a figure flashes by. It looks exactly like Miriam. Yet when she leans out to look, there is no one there. She guesses her eyes must be playing tricks on her. Back in her room, she tries to read and calm down. The story is about a greedy dragon living all alone, deep in a forest. It reaches the shore and sees waves. They keep rolling in. And the dragon thinks they want friends. It starts dreaming that maybe in the royal palace, a princess would easily agree to be its friend too. And so, the dragon starts hatching a plan. It decides it wants to kidnap her. Suddenly, voices from the maids outside break Chloe's focus. They are whispering about a strange event behind the mountains. They say it looks something like a wolf, but some claim it is much larger. Like an ancient monster. From what Chloe has learned in her studies, there are 4 ancient monsters in total. First is the black wolf, huge as a building, called Shaklot. Second is Rapunzel the bear, with skin hard as iron. Next is a creature with a deer head and fish body. And finally, the Marius monster that can mimic human voices. Now watch this. The maids sound so sure of their king. They truly believe he will hunt this monster down. They say that is when the princess holds her debut party. It is the moment she officially reveals herself to everyone. Both maids seem worried they might not be around for it. Some girls were already kicked out of the palace service. It is not just the maids. The selection for concubines is also incredibly strict and brutal. Right then, Colin rushes in, looking absolutely panicked. He grabs the princess, scolding her for standing by the window. It is way too dangerous. He cries, "You absolutely cannot do anything that reckless again." He worries she could get hurt at any moment, especially now. With such a critical time approaching, she has to be extra careful. He insists, and he is just about to say more. He suddenly stops. He knows better than to drop heavy news today. Nothing that would rattle the princess. Not on a day like this. He's just here to deliver a simple message to her. The whole family is waiting. They want her at dinner tonight. Chloe sits there, right across from her 3 older brothers. They are all dressed up, looking sharp, outfits practically sparkling under the light. Prince Chester speaks up, explaining there is no special occasion. It is not a holiday. The 3 of them just came by. They wanted to see how the princess is adjusting to palace life. Prince Jess, sitting right there, is eager to skip the small talk. He wants to dive straight into planning a grand party for her. To Chloe, this whole idea feels like a massive deal. She catches Chester's expression and sees him shift, looking pretty uneasy. He worries out loud, suggesting they wait a year or 2. Let her grow up a bit more before they throw such an event. But in the end, it is Chloe's call. So the brothers turn to her. They are waiting for her answer, their eyes fixed on her. She thinks it over, decides to take a risk and try it out. But preparing for a party alone? That sounds like a total nightmare. The brothers suggest she consult someone they all trust and respect. Still, Chester is stuck, not sure who the right person is to ask. As soon as the topic comes up, Chloe gets excited, mentioning one name. She tells them it has to be Lady Najo. Chloe arrives and spots Theo, who is locked in intense sword practice. She plans to sneak up behind him and give him a shock. Right as she gets close, he spins around to greet her. She jumps, completely caught off guard by his sharp reaction. He claims he always knows, because everywhere Chloe goes, the whole place just feels warmer. Hearing that, she gets confused. She actually wonders if she has a fever, spiking her own body temperature. But clearly, that is not what Theo had in mind at all. Later, Chloe and Prince Ezra, currently in the form of a bird, head over to pay a visit to the Marchioness. The lady is clearly thrilled, rushing forward to welcome them both. The princess sits with the Marchioness, sipping on a fresh cup of tea that smells absolutely incredible. She seems so happy. She sounds a bit regretful, noting that if Castan were stable, they could order way more of this. A land that became a vassal state to the kingdom just a few years ago. It is a chaotic region. But they caught a break. Olaf, the trade guild leader, managed to haul in a massive shipment of essential goods for them. Emily chimes in to say that he is a pretty famous figure, but incredibly hard to recruit, even for nobles with the highest status. He is tough to reach. Getting back on track. The princess needs to ask about the plan, everything they need to prep for the upcoming party. Hearing this, both the lady and her daughter are beyond thrilled. They offer advice first. She has to decide the scale and the purpose of the event. That part is absolutely critical, because every single decision later on depends on it. Next up is the guest list. And the princess needs to write it out herself. Since this is such a major event, every noble in the capital will want an invite. It isn't just the nobles either, even the head of the trade guild, Olaf, might try to show up. That arrogant guy will definitely want to be there. To be safe, she should invite Olaf anyway. It will give everyone more to talk about. The princess worries because she hasn't met most of these people yet. She's afraid they might just ignore the invitation. Emily immediately shuts that down. No way. No one in this entire kingdom would ever dare to decline an invite from the princess. The lady worries that word of the party will leak and cause total chaos. But the princess stays calm. No need to fret over that. She is going to vet the guest list very carefully. She's already picked the first people to receive an invitation. It's going to be the Marquis. The lady and Emily look shocked, but deep down, they're clearly overjoyed. You see, the relationship between the nobles and the Ascanti royal family falls into three groups. First, the royalist faction. They always maintain a close, supportive stance. Second, the opposition. They believe every law and policy from the crown is wrong. And finally, the neutrals. They just stand on the sidelines. They only ever offer safe, meaningless opinions to avoid taking sides. Chloe knows exactly why figuring out which family belongs to which faction matters, especially at social gatherings like this one. Matters like political marriage are already so incredibly sensitive. Like the Hanover family, who are watching her every move. Chloe is lost in thought when the carriage suddenly jerks violently. She's terrified. But the third prince is right there. He catches her before she falls. He saves her. But he ends up with a nasty cut on his forehead. Right then, the guard Colin rushes over. Panicked, he lets out a huge sigh of relief, seeing the princess is safe. He reports that there has been an attack. During these kinds of formal social gatherings, especially with marriage politics, a topic that is always incredibly sensitive, especially for families like the Hanover clan. Chloe is lost in thought when suddenly, the carriage shakes violently, leaving her terrified. Luckily, the third prince is right there, catching her before she falls. She's safe, but he takes a bad hit, leaving a wound right across his forehead. Just then, the guard Colin rushes over, panicked, but lets out a breath of relief seeing the princess is unharmed. He reports that there has been an attack. That stray dog leaps out and the horse goes completely haywire. It rears up violently, snapping the wheel right off the carriage. Now they are stuck, desperate for a new ride. Just then, a young man with blonde hair walks over. He offers to help them out, acting on his master's orders. It is almost like he knew this trouble was coming all along. Then, the prince instantly spots the slave mark on his hand. This guy clearly does not belong to the empire. But when pressed, he says he just wants into the palace. Turns out, he works for the powerful Olaf Merchant Guild. You know, the guild that can buy anything, go anywhere, from jewels and furniture to rare spices. They sell it all. They handle all sorts of exclusive, high-end goods. Honestly, they function like their own independent country. Even the haughtiest nobles are dying to get the guild leader to a party. One king even tried to offer him a massive noble title. He flat out turned it down. Then he steps up to greet the princess. He looks so young, but those eyes, they carry such heavy sorrow. But the second he touches her hand, he gives a strange smile. It is like he just sensed something hidden deep inside her. Chloe is so grateful that Olaf offers them a ride to the palace. He starts chatting about how many strays are getting sick lately. He acts totally natural, as if he does not realize he is with royalty. Then he realizes and bows, apologizing for the late introduction. My name is Rajay Olaf, he says. The moment the third prince hears that, He looks genuinely surprised. He instantly clocks that the girl next to him is Princess Chloe. Olaf freezes for a heartbeat, then flashes a polite smile. He bows, hand over his heart, calling her the spring of the empire. Chloe is stunned when he says he just turned 16. She is blown away to be leading a guild that young. It is incredible. Really? He is the same age as her brother. Rajay Olaf just heard the third prince make his introduction, and honestly, the name hits him hard. He's totally shocked. He realizes in an instant, the person sitting right there is Princess Chloe Asgardian. He freezes for a second. Then finally, a smile breaks across his face. He places a hand over his heart, showing real gratitude for meeting her, known as the Spring of the Vlog Empire. She hears him speak. He says he just turned 16. And she's clearly taken aback. The princess is genuinely impressed, such a young age to stand so high. He is already an outstanding leader, and exactly her older brother's age too. That is where we wrap up this story for today. We really hope you show your support with a like and a share. It gives us all the motivation we need to keep these coming. Stay tuned for more epic stories just like this one.